Coming up, a child abuse allegation at a Waukesha child care center prompts a police response.
As a parent, it scares me.
A neighborhood near Brady Street where 4 people are shot. We hear from those who heard the cries for help.
I came down here to pray over the situation.
A shootout with Milwaukee police leaves 1 man dead. What police say they found at the scene that has them on high alert.
I talked to one business owner who shares his thoughts about crime in the city.
People need to know it's safe to come down here.
TMJ4 News at 5 starts now.
And we begin with a story that's been breaking since just before noon. Frightened children and frantic parents at a child care center in Waukesha. Police were working to reunite families, at the same time investigating claims of abuse at the Lawrence School. That is where we find Mary Jo Ola, and we'll begin with the criminal investigation and where it stands at this hour. Mary Jo.
Steve, Waukesha police say a family member came to them concerned about physical child abuse a few days ago. Now that led to a search warrant. Lawrence School is a locally owned child care center, and it was a 4K partner site with the school district of Waukesha. But late this afternoon, the school district announced it's ending that relationship and that it's working with families to find alternatives.
Being as there's possible abuse scares me. I wouldn't want that for my kid or anybody else's kid.
Richard Walsh is one of the many parents who hurried to pick up his kid from the Lawrence School, a licensed child care center in Waukesha. They came as police investigated an allegation of physical child abuse at the facility. Richard's wife also works at the center.
She's very scared. She's never dealt with anything like this. She's worked at other daycares, but she's never dealt with something like this before.
Waukesha police say once they realized the claims surrounding one case of abuse could involve more than one worker, they secured a search warrant. On its website, the Lawrence School says it takes kids between 6 weeks and 12 years old. Police say working with that age range and ensuring kids went to the right person took longer than usual.
We had to be 110% accurate on who we placed that child with. And the only way we could do that was a methodical reunification. Also, to throw in the fact, one of the mitigating factors, some of the staff members that ran the system are now in our custody relative to a criminal investigation.
Off camera, one woman leaving the property was in tears as she told TMJ4 News she works at the Lawrence School and is extremely upset about the situation. Police will work with the state to see if the private facility should stay open. But right now, their number one focus is to see if there are more victims and giving them a voice. Now, police believe state agencies will be looking at this case and on the criminal side of things as well as professional services. Investigators are expected to release more information tonight. Live in Waukesha, Mary Jo Ola, TMJ4 News.
All right, we'll wait for an update. Mary Jo, thank you. Breaking news right now, Kenosha police report the state's 911 service is down. 911 down across the state. If you dial 911 right now, Kenosha police says your call could be rerouted to Milwaukee. Kenosha police says the non-emergency phone lines are working. Again, that number in Kenosha, 262-656-1234. Non-emergency will vary depending on where you are in the state. Again, we're working to get more information on this as we're learning 911 is reportedly down across Wisconsin. Now to Milwaukee and another violent night in the city. Carol Meekins is live downtown near Velar Phillips and Wells following 2 shootings, one just off Brady Street and the other shooting that became a shootout with police. Carol, what are people telling you today?
Well, Steve, the people I talk to tell me crime is increasing all over the country, but they say we all have to use common sense these days, and they say there's no reason to stop enjoying Milwaukee's wonderful downtown. Now, as you mentioned, one of those incidents was last night. It was a quadruple shooting near Milwaukee's popular Brady Street. It happened just before 2 a.m. Our Bruce Harrison joins us live near Warren and Hamilton with the latest. Bruce.
Carol, I spoke briefly with the brother of one of the men who was shot, and they believe that he was in a car that for some reason came down this street and then ultimately crashed into the back of that red SUV. The brother tells me his brother's in pretty bad shape and they're hoping he pulls through. Now, neighbors, they were surprised and some frightened. I spoke with one man who says he's even prepared to move his family and young girls out of the neighborhood.
He said, we've been shot. I need you to get to me.
A neighbor telling us he heard the cries for help. He only agreed to speak off camera.
There was a female that you could tell was yelling hysterically, and then the male followed by the phone call and all that.
How do you feel today knowing something like that happened so close to your home?
It's shocking for sure, just because we've currently been here for a couple of years and nothing like this has ever happened.
Police say 2 men, 23 and 29 years old, and a 36-year-old woman were seriously injured. A fourth person, police say, gravely injured. Evidence of the shooting near Hamilton and Warren leads all the way to Brady, where it appears one of the victims stumbled after being shot.
Super scary because, like I said, I have like 2 5-year-old daughters.
Zachary Tomayich says he's thinking about moving his little girls.
They're fortunate enough to not wake up from it, but I came out and I couldn't go to sleep for pretty much the rest of the night because it's just I don't know if there's an active shooter around.
Others walking the block hoping for the violence to end.
And I came down here to pray over the situation and for the streets.
And police say that they're still searching for unknown suspects, and it's just unclear right now as they investigate what brought the gun violence to this intersection of the east side. Carol?
Bruce, thank you very much. Now to the shootout between 3 police officers and 3 people on Milwaukee's northwest side near 33rd and Galena. Police shot and killed 1 man, now identified as 40-year-old Sherman Solomon. Authorities are still searching for 2 other people who they say ran away. Our Katie Crowther is live at Milwaukee Police District 3. Katie, now, I believe those officers were shot as they arrived at the scene.
Yeah, that's right, Carol. Luckily, those officers were not hit by any of the bullets, but their squad car definitely was. And as they immediately got out and started firing back at the people shooting at them, people who live in the neighborhood were taking cover. So what did you hear?
It was like, bow, 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 bow. Then I went downstairs to make sure my mom was okay.
They were okay, but there is a permanent mark on their car where a bullet hit. Neighbors here on 33rd Street near Galena shocked over the number of shots they heard.
At least 20 shots.
We found Jimmy Fox cleaning up the neighborhood after it was turned upside down. It's his way of coping. He worries every day about his family. You don't know who could get hit in the crossfire.
Right. And that's the scary part about it.
Milwaukee police say responding officers were shot at as they arrived to check out reports of gunfire. They fired back, killing 40-year-old Sherman Solomon. 2 others ran away. Chief Jeffrey Norman says one of the most alarming parts of all this is what was attached to the handgun used by the suspects.
Drum magazine is a high-capacity magazine. Usually has either 30 to 50 rounds. Usually it's connected to a weapon that will be able to discharge the rounds in a rapid fire.
The 3 officers involved were not injured. People who live here say it's a miracle no one else was hurt.
We are just trying to combat gun violence.
Like Jimmy Fox, John Davis, pastor of New Hope Church of God in Christ down the street, is working for change in this area. But after what just happened, is at a loss for how to stop the violence and reach the people causing it.
We want the community to know that we are here to serve them.
Now, the officers involved, 3 of them, they each have more than 8 years of experience on the job. They are all on administrative duty pending an investigation, which, as you know, is routine. Carol, I'll send it back to you.
Luckily, they were not hurt. Katie, thank you very much. Now, the Drum magazine you heard the chief talk about got us asking about automatic firearms. Milwaukee police say they have recovered 42 so far this year, a 91% increase from last year. Fully automatic firearms are illegal to sell, possess, or use in Wisconsin unless they are a collector's item made before the mid-1980s. And tonight at 6, we're going to go in depth with the ATF on what they call a frightening trend that's made its way to Milwaukee. How criminals are using a tiny piece of plastic to turn a handgun into an automatic firearm. Steve, back to you.
All right, Carol, we'll see you in a little bit as well. Thank you. Less than 2 months now to Election Day, and Wisconsin has 2 races that look to go down to the wire. A new Marquette Law School poll today has Tony Evers leading Tim Michels by 3% in the race for governor. On the Senate side, Senator Ron Johnson is leading Mandela Barnes by just 1%. TMJ4.com/vote is your one-stop shop for voting resources. Find out how to register, find your polling place, and more. The general election is November 8th. Coming up on TMJ4 News at 5, after a night of violence downtown, business owners remain hopeful.
Yes, I sit down with the owner of Doc's Smokehouse. This is where I'm at. He tells me why he feels safe. Plus,
they shared every single aspect of their lives. And so she just has a hole ripped right through her.
A call for witnesses in the investigation of the man who died after falling from a Milwaukee drawbridge.